You know, I've been an A's fan, Oakland Athletics fan, for as long as I've lived. Even when I moved out to Kansas, on a semi-permanent basis, a very semi-long temporary basis back in '94 due to personal family complications that I've mentioned once in a while here on this channel, I've always, been a fan. I've always remained a fan, of the A's. Anytime the A's came and played the Royals, I would try to go to a game. In fact, it was like one or two games they would come to town, and me and my dad, along with my grandma, would go and see them. And I was happy because not only did I get to, experience my first, live in-person baseball game that was not in California, basically not at the Oakland Coliseum, because I had been to the Oakland Coliseum when I think I was like 10 or 9 or something like that for a field trip with a class, and my dad was one of the parents that accompanied us. Because you had to have parents at the time accompany you, or at least one guardian at least accompany you on the trip to the Oakland Coliseum, or what it's called now, Ring Central. And like I said, that was like one of the few times I went to the Coliseum before I moved out to Kansas in 1994 on a semi-temporary permanent basis. And then, like I said, after that, anytime the A's would come to town, me and my dad, along with my grandma, would go and try to watch them in person, because that way, not only could I see the A's once again, and also, as I was mentioning, experience my first live in-person Major League Baseball game in a stadium that was not in California, but in Kansas City, Kansas City, Missouri, on the borderline of Missouri and Kansas, at what was known and still known as Kauffman Stadium, as far as I know. And I enjoyed what I saw. What I saw. My dad even got me, I think I had to go use the restroom or something, and my dad got me an autograph from one of the A's players. So that was pretty cool. Outside of that, when I came back here, of course, I've had numerous occasions when my older sister would be able to do it, and I helped one time contribute to it financially. For me, her family, my second older sister's family, my mom, my older sister's father-in-law, we would get a chance to go to the games, once in a while when they'd be playing the San Francisco Giants. I mean, yeah, there's other games we could have gone to, but the primary game that, our family always wanted to go to was the Giants. The Giants and the A's, ever since they started doing interleague play. So yeah, I have a lot of memories. I remember my grandfather, my mom's dad, being a huge Oakland A's fan. And, at times when they would go to the World Series, everybody, doesn't matter what day it was, we would show up. If we lived in the vicinity, or if we could, we would show up to the house, to my grandpa and grandma's house, and watch these games, especially when it came to playoff time and World Series time. And of course, speaking of World Series, the one thing that the A's will always be linked with when it comes to World Series here in the Bay Area in California is 1989. And that was against the San Francisco Giants. The first time in a long time that we knew of that any teams that basically were in the same region, just a bridge across from each other, were playing in the World Series. Of course, it has been done before and it has been done afterwards, but still, for us here in California, it was kind of new. It was kind of new and everything. Anyway, I'll never forget that day, because my mom and my dad, they basically wanted to record the game. They wanted to record the World Series. And surprisingly, for some odd, strange reason, our VCR It recorded, but didn't record in good quality, but it still recorded. And we also lived in Waterford, California at the time here in the Central Valley. But like I said, I'll never forget that.
Sorry, I don't know that.
Sorry, that was my device that went on. But like I said, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that because, here we are, in the living room, sitting down. My dad's on his way home from work, to rest and enjoy the game himself. But I'll never forget that we basically were in the living room. We're watching the game. They're getting ready for it. They're showing highlights or something. Or I don't know if the game was in progress or something. I think they may have been just highlights. And then all of a sudden the earthquake happened. And it was like, holy crap, what is going on here? And my mom, it was strong even where we were, obviously. And my mom basically can recall that she looked outside the front window and saw the ground because we didn't have grass, believe it or not. This was a very new house, so we didn't have time to plant grass, or they didn't have time, I guess, to plant grass or something. But anyway, basically, she saw the ground going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, like crazy, if you will. So what she did is she grabbed me, she grabbed my older sister, she grabbed our bird in the cage, and went to my room, because my room, believe it or not, structure-wise, was the safest place, to be under. Like if you had to stand under a door or something like that, from a structure standpoint, it was the safest place to be. My second older sister, however, she was asleep on the couch. She slept through the damn thing. Even when she woke up, she's like, what's going on? And we had to tell her, and we had to tell her, and she was like, she had this reaction of like, and I slept through it? Yeah, she did. We didn't know why. She was sleeping so much at that time. Maybe she was just very tired, but to say again, she slept right through that thing. She slept right through it. Now, like I said, outside of that, connection that they have and everything, and we as fans have with it, being an A's fan, we have a lot of memories, which includes that. And here's the thing. We have heard for years that, the Oakland A's group, the Oakland A's, the owners, if you will, of the A's and all that, along with the city, they wanted to get a new stadium made. They wanted to get it made on the waterfront and everything, but they just couldn't reach a deal until recently. Until recently, they were able to, agree on something, and it looked like the A's were going to stay. But now all of a sudden this news comes out, and it really just takes everybody by surprise. Now I want you to think about this. I want you to think about this, all right? I want you to think about this. Yes, if this happens, and it looks like it's going to probably happen, it doesn't mean your memories of, the A's in Oakland and all that dies out. No. Let me remind you of something. The A's have moved from various other cities and states in the past. Their history is tied to be when they were first founded, or at least one of the years they were first founded. They were founded in Philadelphia. They were known as the Philadelphia Athletics, the Philadelphia A's. Then after several years, or many years there, they moved to Kansas City, and they were the Kansas City A's. And then they moved from Kansas City over to Oakland, and the rest is history. So it's nothing new for them to move around. But here's the point. Here's the point I'm getting at. The fans that are still alive from even the Kansas City, transition to over to Oakland, those fans still remained fans. They did. those fans still remain fans. They can deny all they want, but they're still fans. They still follow. It's the same with, it's the same with any team. Believe it or not. It's the same with any team. You think the Montreal Expo fans were happy when that team went to Washington and became the Washington Nationals? No. But because they kept the colors of the Expos on them, those Expos fans still cling to them. They still support them because they know that if you take away the national name, you take away the Washington name, you just look at the colors, to them, that's still the Expos. To them, it's still the Montreal Expos. The same could be said for let's say, the Oklahoma City Thunder. All right? You look at the Thunder, and there are fans in Seattle that still follow them. They still follow them because to them, that is still the Seattle Supersonics. It is. That is still the Seattle Supersonics. Now, outside of that, there have been teams that have kept their names but have moved to other locations. Speaking of Las Vegas, the Raiders. The Raiders have been Oakland, LA, and now Oakland again, and now Las Vegas. But have the fans forgotten about them? No. Have the fans stopped clinging to them? No. The fan base is still there, if not stronger. It is. The fan base is still there, if not stronger. All right? Then the Tennessee Titans. Yeah, that's one team I forgot to mention who moved locations and changed names. But do you think the Houston Oilers fans forgot about them? No. They still clung to them. They still supported them. That is until the Texans came to town. And now they got the Houston Texans. But still, there are fans of the original Houston Oilers team that still support the Titans because to them, that's still the Oilers. It is. It is. I mean, there's a lot of examples. Here's another one. The New Jersey Nets. New Jersey Nets moved to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn and became the Brooklyn Nets. Do you think the New Jersey folk forgot them or stopped supporting them? No. They still clung to them. They still cling to them. They're still there to support them. And if not stronger than ever with that fan base. Okay? And there are several others I can talk about and mention. The point is, yes, more so than ever, it does seem like this new deal to get a ballpark made and created and built in Las Vegas and have it open by 2027 does seem like a reality more so than we want to admit. It does. But let me give you a little bit of history. A little bit of trivial history. The Sacramento Kings, who right now are on the hottest streak they've ever been. Yeah, they lost last night to the Warriors, but guess what? Guess what? They still lead 2-1 in the series. But they are the number 3 seed in the West right now, in the Western Conference side of the playoffs for the NBA. The Sacramento Kings at one point, were on the verge of possibly leaving. Yeah. They were on the verge of possibly leaving, Sacramento and going to Seattle. And there's a good chance that they would have been renamed the new Supersonics. And there was a lot of fans in Seattle that were hoping for that. But guess what happened? Just because maybe they had something in the works and everything, and it sounded like they did, like they were getting ready to purchase land, if not already purchased land, to build a new arena on. Guess what happened? Guess what happened? The city of Sacramento came together, the fans of Sacramento came together, the people of Sacramento came together, the organization of the Kings, everybody came together, the NBA came together, and basically agreed to build a new arena, and that is the Golden One Center. And that's why the Kings are still here in Sacramento. Because just when it looked like Seattle was going to be the new destination, the city of Sacramento and the Central Valley, everybody in between said, not going to happen. And that's why the Kings are still here. That's why the Kings are still here. You kind of say the same with the Golden State Warriors. But all it was they just moved across the bridge. That's all they did. They're still the Golden State Warriors. They didn't change their name to back to San Francisco Warriors. No. They're still the Golden State Warriors. And that's it. That is it. They are still Golden State. They just moved locations. That's it. The point that I'm getting at, when you look at something like, let's say, with Sacramento, and there are other examples too where it looked like teams could be bound to be elsewhere, and then all of a sudden, they stay where they are. The Kings, ironically, right now, are an example of the fact that just because talks are happening, just because land may be purchased and all that, doesn't mean anything is finalized. It doesn't mean, unless the breaking of the ground occurs, anything is set in stone. All right? Nothing is for certain yet. Yeah, they could have spent money, not could have, but they may have spent money on purchasing land and all that. But it doesn't mean, that they're, permanently bound to go to Las Vegas by 2027. And what I see happening, because we have plenty of time. Remember, we are in 2023 right now. We are in 2023 right now. And just because they purchase land doesn't mean something could get built on there, because of the fact that whatever they may want may not structurally fit with that, landscape. So here's what I look at. I say between now and then, expect the city of Oakland, if they want it, and I believe they do, expect the city of Oakland, the fans, the council, whatever you want to call it, expect Oakland together, along with whoever's in the front offices of the A's, to try to at least get something going in Oakland so the move doesn't happen. Now, I'm not saying it won't happen, but I'm not going to be surprised if the city of Oakland, the fans, the council, and all that say, you ain't moving to Vegas. Your value means too much to us. We want you to stay. And I bet you anything, when we least expect it, they're going to make an announcement of, okay, you can have your stadium where you want it. They'll work something out, I guarantee you. They will try. Let me correct myself. They will try to work something out to prevent the move. I guarantee it. Again, just because they purchase land doesn't mean anything's going to truly happen. It takes time. It takes time, it takes effort for something to occur. But honestly, folks, to me, this is more of a let's wait and see what the next steps are. Because you might purchase land to build something on, doesn't mean the building's going to happen right away. Because either you may have to resell that land to somebody else or purpose that land for something else instead. Because what you intend to build there might may not happen, because maybe the other side of the coin, the other side of the ocean is saying, not too fast. So, honestly, we'll have to wait and see what occurs. I know fans are upset right now, and that's fine. You have a right to be. But to me, I think in the long run, timing is yearly timing. That is the thing you have to look out for. Because I promise you that they're going to try. I promise you, they are going to try to prevent this move from happening. Remember, they tried, as much as you may not want to admit it, they tried to keep the Raiders in Oakland could not happen because they couldn't get it financially done. This time around, I think they're going to do a lot better. They're going to try a lot harder, and I would not be surprised if maybe they get a victory out of it. I would not be surprised. But yeah, right now it looks like the A's are Vegas bound in 2027, but are they? We'll have to see. But let me know what your thoughts are. I know it sounded like I rambled a bit here, trying to think about what I was going to say. I mean, I just woke up a little while ago, guys, so my brain is still trying to wake up itself and all that. Got some allergies as well. I'm trying to get over or subdue. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Comment down below, live chat during the premiere. And until next time, I'll talk to y'all later.